Going into care was traumatic, and I feel even now that it was uncalled for and a little over-eager, over-aggressive to get me into care when I felt maybe care wasn't the best option for me.
It was just scary, absolutely scary, because it's like, I don't know you people, and now I'm being thrown in at 14 years old, being put with you, to live with you. Like, I don't know, it was terrifying.
I would say that foster homes are a lot different now than they were 10 years ago. That they deal with a lot more issues now than they did 10 years ago.
I got thrown into a group home where people were cutting themselves and coping with suicide and mental health issues. There were youth that had been in the sex trade or who had been either tortured, manipulated, you name it, they were there. And it's like the turnover was so high, like you get a fresh case every 2 days.
I bounced around from foster home to foster home, group home to group home. And I was in, I think, 22 homes altogether, including group homes.
I was bounced around from a good number of different homes and foster homes and group homes and placements, and it was quite a journey. And me having a very strong kind of family ties and upbringing and a very clear sense of culture and identity, for that to be kind of stripped away from me in a blink of an eye really had a very negative kind of impact on my character and my upbringing.
I didn't feel parented until I was about 15. I didn't feel supported in the sense of being who I was. And I think the best thing that has happened to me is being pulled out of my own family and being placed into another to see the dynamics of like how it should be, or how a family should behave and how they should do things together. And the foster family that I had they were healthy, and they were supportive in the sense that they wanted me to be able to explore, and they wanted me to be able to learn what I really liked and what I didn't like, what I wanted to be when I grew up.
They do help out a lot of the kids, and not necessarily shipping them from foster home to foster home. That was probably the hardest on me, and that would probably be also one of the worst things that with CAS is that they just ship you off to a different foster home if the other foster home can't take care of you. They don't talk to the foster parents, they just take you out and bring you to another foster home. I don't think that's right for a kid growing up in CAS to be shipped from foster home to foster home.
Child welfare system tries its best to be culturally inclusive and ethnically inclusive. The fact is there just aren't enough volunteers or people stepping up to become foster parents from different backgrounds. I mean, I don't see many East Asian people, within this industry in general. So whenever there are kids in the home already and you're placed into the home, you always notice, like, even though foster parents try to treat you very similarly, there's always a gap between you and the biological children that they have. So it was very evident in both situations.
A lot of times I felt like I struggled with, my identity and then having to basically live on my own when I was 16, and just feeling like everything was twice as hard. Words can't really describe it, because I feel that a lot of unresolved issues, not really even unresolved issues, rather a lot of issues that were created by me even going in the system are still relevant today in terms of where I am in my life. And to be honest, I'm just not happy.
Nobody takes time out to sit down and actually listen to you. Like, things are happening and it's being pushed off to the side because it's not that serious that they need to deal with it.
When I think about the CAS, I think of being misunderstood, misinterpreted, and misguided, because you don't get a lot of supervision or a lot of rules or a positive outcome. You just get apprehended and you're in a state of suspense right through. CAS had the right idea, but the wrong approach, I must say.
the stigma is, and as wrong as it is that like foster kids are bad, and they're not. Like, I think it's very much situational. I don't think that it's really the right thing to do to say, oh yeah, all foster kids get into drugs, or like they all end up this way. I don't think that's right. And I think that's really like it's put in a very wrong way. I think the stories that have come about from that stereotype are the ones that people have chosen to see, and that's not true. I think there's a giant, very, very sentimental story behind every story.
But there's a whole bunch of us who have come over what we've gone through, and we are completely different than what we were beforehand, and we are amazing individuals who are doing amazing things, but yet people looked at us like we were the stupidest kids alive, and it was frustrating because nobody believed you. And that's the worst part too, is that we're being labeled as these kids that have been neglected and abused, and some people are just because their parents couldn't afford it and they wanted a better life for their children, which is completely fine. You want the extra support, the support's here for you.
The transition from CAS to care to independent living, it really needs to be focused. It really needs to be looked at. It really needs to be improved, because youth are just not doing good. You know, I could put on a smile and I could joke, I could laugh, I could be jovial. But when I go home at nighttime and I look at my life, I'm just not happy.
I've always said it, I will always say it again. I'm so glad that I was in care. I'm so thankful for the fact that I was in care.
I find they do put the kids first. If you ask, especially Brantford, I find if you ask anybody, they will say they hate CAS. But somebody that's lived in it most of their life actually likes it a lot, just because they've been my family for 12 years now. Since I was 8 years old, I still consider them my family at 20. But if you ask anybody else, they're gonna say they hate it.